Sensity is a nonprofit organization doing some very important work across the province of Ontario. So they provide services for deafblind individuals, one of which is called Intervenors. So here with more is the CEO of Deafblind and Sensory Support Network of Canada, Cathy Proll. Good to have you on the show. Good morning, Cathy. Good morning, Cathy. Fascinated with, and it's not deaf and blind, it's deafblind. Deafblind. Take us through a deafblind individual.
So people who are deafblind have a combined loss of vision and hearing, so they can't use either as a primary means of accessing the environment or obtaining information. So we purposely put deafblind together to represent that combined loss of vision and hearing. But people who are deafblind, sometimes they have other challenges as well. It could be mobility, it could be certainly cognitive and that type of thing as well.
Are they born generally with deafblind individuals?
There are some people who are born deafblind. Typically the leading cause of people being born deafblind today is Charge syndrome. The leading cause of deafblindness right now, though, are seniors who are becoming deafblind as they age.
Which must be extremely difficult. So how do they go about their day? What does a typical day look like for an individual deafblind?
Well, I think for people who are deafblind, one of the most crucial things are intervenors. And intervenors are, in the most basic description, they act as the eyes and ears of someone who's deafblind. So they're providing not only sort of the communication, but they're also interpreting visual information as well. And so that enables people who are deafblind to live their lives like you and I do. You know, people have meaningful work experiences, they have recreation and leisure, they have relationships with people, but none of that would happen without the intervenors.
And that's what your organization really focuses on, finding intervenors, training the intervenors, and then finding a match for them.
So yeah, typically trust is very important in the relationship between an individual who's deafblind and their intervenors. So, you know, typically when we're recruiting, we always have the person in mind who we may be assigning the intervenor to. But intervenors, there's quite a large shortage of them in the province, and so we do a lot of the training. So if anyone's ever interested in this type of work, don't be afraid to apply, because we will provide the training.
You started as an intervenor.
I did, and I just, I remember thinking, oh my goodness, I can't believe they're paying me to do this job. You know, it's a very fun, it's a very rewarding role that you play, and it's meaningful.
When it comes to other sensories for deafblinds, do they use their sense of smell, their sense of touch to really assist them through their day?
Yeah, so when there's a sensory loss, typically you'll see that people may rely more on a sense of touch. So sometimes people, you know, Intervenor Services can be as individual as the person they're supporting. So some people might use a tactile sign language and use a haptic on the back. And haptic is really quite fascinating. It's so for example, if I was working with you and you couldn't see an audience, I could put a little tap on your back to say, oh, you know, people are laughing at your joke. So it's really quite tremendous how you can be getting sign language on your hand and information on your back as well.
Excellent. What are the numbers when it comes to deafblind?
So overall in Ontario, there's 2% of the population actually who is deafblind. In the Hamilton sort of area, that number is probably close to about 3,200 people. 3,200.
Okay, so if anybody's watching right now interested in becoming an intervenor, where do they go, Cathy?
Well, we can start with our website, www.sensity.ca.
Okay. Wonderful. We'll hook up that with our website, cach.com/morninglive. Thanks for all the work you do with Sensity. I know you've been involved since many years ago.
Yeah, many years with deafblind folks now, yes.
Well, we appreciate the work that you do, and I know they do as well. Cathy Proll, who's the CEO of Deafblind and Sensory Support Network of Canada.
Thank you.